Excellent. We're on YouTube and we are on Facebook. So just going to give this a second to alert people that we're on. Oops. Okay. Then I'm almost done over here. I told you there was an awkward silence. You thought I was kidding. I think we're going to go ahead and get it started. Well, good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. Geez, I am thankful for Friday, especially after the morning we had. I'll tell you, we're a few minutes late, and I thought it was the fault of my guests until I realized that I had my computer muted, and I could not hear them, and we were thinking through all these tech issues. I'm over here chatting with the software and checking all over the place, and then after about 20 minutes, I figured that out. So I had to share that with you, with you all, that little snafu that I had. But that means that this morning, everything else is going to be a piece of cake because that set the tone. As you're hopping on here, please make sure that you comment, give us a thumbs up, let us know who is watching and tuning in with us. We like to engage with you. And the only way we can do that is by knowing who is on here. So at the bottom of this video, you'll see a comment section that you'll be able to share either good morning messages our way, like Counselor DeMott has, and our current board chair, Brian Dice. If you pick up something you didn't know, also type that in. We like to know what nuggets of information you picked up. And then finally, if you have any questions for our speakers today, this is the way that we'll be able to display those questions for you. Again, that's available at any point in time for you to use the comment section to type in your comments, your compliments, or your questions as well. Now, before I get started, you know I like to reiterate all the housekeeping rules. I am Juliette Abdel, President and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And if you are new to our page, I encourage you to hit that like button and hit the follow. If you are not new, but you haven't already liked the page and hit the notification button for alerts in the future, please be sure that you do so. This video is also streamed on our YouTube page and available at any point in time on our COVID resource page on the Westminster Chamber website. And of course, we have videos dating back into March when we first kicked off these live broadcasts to help businesses adapt to the unknown. And now, of course, with our more structured programming, we feature nonprofits, a business, our mayor, and several electeds along the way. So today's topic is focused more as a chamber update. And since you guys are used to me coming on here and giving you a slew of updates, I figured I'd change it up a little bit by showing some of the leadership that we have within the organization. Now, as most of you are aware, we are an organization that represents hundreds of businesses in our area in Westminster and in the Denver metro and other parts of Colorado. It is led by me, but I also am overseen by a board of directors, and I have an amazing group of volunteers. Those volunteers not only dedicate their time to things that are of interest to them, but to better the business community overall. And when I say they dedicate their time, it is not just to attend those meetings. They are in constant communication with me through Facebook, through text message, through emails. They are my left hand and I am their right. So I'm very fortunate to have two of those guests with me today. I see you, Bernadette. Thank you so much for hopping on. And Jerry, good morning to you guys. So today I have two of those guests with me. One is Linda Delano, and Linda is the lead moderator for one of the three leads groups that we have within the chamber, the Rainmakers. So she'll tell you more about what that leads group is, how they came to form, and take up any questions at the end. And then we also have with us Emilio Valdez, and Emilio is our ambassador chair. So the ambassador chairmanship is a role that's within our ambassadors committee. one of the 3 different committees that we again have within the chamber. He'll be specifically talking about the ambassadors, what they do in the chamber, in the community, and ways that you can get engaged with them. So that's the nature of today's broadcast. I hope that you will do your part by sharing this out with people that might find it of interest and engaging with us, because we like that Q&A. That being said, I will go ahead and actually mute myself intentionally and turn this over to you, Emilio, to get us kicked off. Make sure you unmute yourself and start sharing about the ambassadors, your role, and what that committee does.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to to today's broadcast. As Juliet mentioned, I am Emilio Valdez, and I'm the chairperson of our Ambassadors Committee. I assumed that role the first part of this year, right pre-COVID. So it was really kind of a fast transition into the COVID world without having much experience on the other side. But it's really been good for me to be involved with people, to be involved with the community, and to work with our ambassadors and talk to them and just reach out to our fellow businesses here in the Westminster area. Some of the things we do is welcome the new members, just to let them know, hey, we're here for you. We'll always be here for you. We do follow up on that and continually talk with businesses, both members and non-members. Our non-members are just as important, especially now going through COVID, because some of them are not doing as well financially as they were pre-COVID. So it's really, really important to us as a chamber as a whole to reach out and talk to our business community and just to let them know they've got resources here, and we've got some really, really fantastic resources. One of my goals right now this year is to increase our ambassadorship. As we continue to grow, we need more ambassadors. We need to be able to be out there with the ability to continue to reach out to all our Westminster businesses as well as our members and let them know that like I said before, we're here, and we just really want to have them participate in the chamber. Some of the things that we do also on the ambassador committee is recruit volunteers, get people to help out. Like when Juliet had the social distance happy hour, which I thought was fantastic, by the way. That was a lot of fun. If you didn't get a chance to participate in those, you really should have. And if we have another one, I strongly suggest you participate in that. But I was able to just reach out and say, hey, I'm here if you need me. And I do that for all chamber members, as a friend, as a fellow business, and as a community member. Because my thoughts are, the more I can help you, the stronger we become as a community. We've got a great chamber. I think it's one of the better chambers that I've researched. Juliet's a fantastic leader. She's always a great resource and always great information. If I get stuck in something that I want to do with the ambassadors, I can always call her and say, hey, I'm stuck here. What can we do? And she'll provide that guidance to say, well, if you want to do this, here's what I would suggest, and help point me in the right direction. Being a part of the chamber for me is great because it's just a good experience. Linda, the next speaker, I'm in her leads group, and that is a fun group. So if you're looking for leads groups to belong to, or if you know some of our members that really need to get more exposure, especially now during the COVID crisis, now's the time, because we're all in this together, working very, very hard to try to help one another succeed. It's all about success. If we succeed, the community succeeds, the chamber succeeds. It's all linked together. I think we can do a lot of things together. You don't necessarily have to be an ambassador. It certainly helps. Part of what the goal is for me as the chair is I still have an ambitious goal of getting 20 ambassadors by the end of the year, and also to continue to grow that as the years go on. Reaching out to other folks that may have felt left behind during the COVID crisis. just to get them involved, whether it's at an ambassador level, whether it's at a leads group level, or just being the resource. That's what I think ambassadors are really good at, especially in the Westminster Chamber. We're very, very good at telling our folks, hey, you need something, we're here. We're all family. We're all part of an extended family through the chamber. And I've always felt that since I got involved. What was it, Juliet? Like 3-4 years ago when I started getting heavily involved. And it's
about 3 years ago.
Yeah, and it's really good. I mean, if you're not involved with your chamber, you're really missing the boat. Because when you're involved with your chamber, it's more than just doing business with those folks. It's helping others. It's getting involved in the community. It's growing your community. It's learning what your community is doing at the government level, at the chamber level, and at your local law enforcement level. There's a lot of things going on right now where we can be a huge resource to answer a lot of questions with what's going on in our current climate. Westminster's been blessed that we haven't had a lot of problems. I think we're just doing very, very good at controlling that. I think our ambassadors reaching out to other businesses and to other folks has been a godsend for those folks. Case in point, the grants that were given away not too long ago. A couple of the businesses that I had contacted actually got grant money, and it was really good to go into their organization and have them say, hey, thanks for recommending that. We would have never thought to do it without someone telling us. So things like that are really important to do. If there's no other questions, Juliet, I'll go ahead and turn it back to you, and we can turn it over to Linda, and then we can get more questions at the end.
Well, thank you so much, Emilio. I wasn't really looking for you to keep bragging about us, but it worked out really well. I do have, I will go into a little bit more detail. You gave a nice 300-foot perspective, and I want to make sure that we start digesting that down. And I appreciated you sharing that example about the mini grants and the support that those ambassadors made with outreach to businesses and letting them know that those were available. That truly personalizes it. I see Counselor Seymour has hopped on here with us. Happy Friday to you as well. And today is his birthday. So please make sure that you flood him with some nice messages. I'm so glad that he's decided to tune in and celebrate it with us by learning more about kind of what we're doing. So thank you, Counselor. We'll now transition over to Linda Delano. And again, Emilio, if you can mute yourself while Linda's speaking. Linda does lead our one of 3 leads groups that we have, the Rainmakers, and I'll have her share kind of who she is, the organization that she belongs to, and then her role and what they do.
Okay, well, first of all, thanks, Emilio. We call him Ricky in our group, and that's a story that I'll share at the end, if that's okay. So anyway, so I'm a rep with Country Financial. I've been with my company for 18 years. And when I first started, I had little ones and I didn't have time to sit and call and work late. So my manager said, you need to make your phone ring. You need to get out and network. So I had no idea what a networking group was. I walked in thinking, this is kind of weird, or just, I didn't understand. And then I was like, why isn't anyone giving me leads? I wasn't getting leads, but I actually wasn't giving them either. So long story short, I could go on forever. I am now the moderator for the Rainmakers. I started the group with 2. I went into another group and we started it with 2 people in 2003. So our group has been together for 17 years. And I know it's crazy. And a couple of the members have been there since the beginning. And our group is unique because we did start with another chamber, which is okay. And then 4 years ago, we transitioned over to the Westminster Chamber, and it's been wonderful. Juliet's been wonderful. We currently have 13 members, and hopefully most of you know what a leads group is, but basically it's a group of people, small business. We get together, we share leads, we use each other's businesses, we refer our clients. It's a great source when I have a client and they're like, I need someone to do my hair, and I've got somebody I can trust. So it is a wonderful way to build your business. I don't think I could be where I'm at without it. I will admit, I would say the last year, the Leads Group concept has kind of started to fade because a lot of small business people or business owners were looking towards networking, social media. So I was a little worried because this Leads Group, I'm very passionate about it. It's my baby. But then it's really interesting because COVID hit and, everybody was in lockdown. There was very little human contact. And then it created a desire and a need for everybody to meet face to face. And so all of a sudden now our Leads Group is booming. We started in March doing Zoom calls, which at that point, I didn't even know what a Zoom was or a Zoom call. And then now it's kind of a household word. And we all got on. There's about, 7 of us. It was so exciting to see each other and talk. And then we transitioned to a park and we social distanced. We put on our masks and it was wonderful. We all brought our own lunches. Prior to that, we were meeting at a restaurant. And so everybody brought their own lunches, which was interesting to see because everybody eats pretty healthy. Not me, I'm the hamburger, fries, McDonald's girl, but it was really fun. And then now we meet at the Church Ranch Event Center. Eric Gardner is one of the members. So we meet outside. Those who aren't familiar with the Church Ranch Event Center, it's a beautiful place. We sit outside with aspen trees, flowers, fountains, and it's been really great. And so our group is booming. I won't go through all the members, but we have a lot of different types of businesses. The structure of the meeting is once a week. We meet every Thursday at noon. And the structure is we'll each do a 1-minute commercial and a getting to know you question. And the getting to know you questions are really interesting. It's basically getting to know you. So questions like, what did you eat for breakfast? Or, what is your greatest fear? Or what is your worst date you ever had? So we add a little bit of comedy to it. And then we do, Emilio does the chamber news. So we always know what's going on, which is awesome because some of us don't have time to go on to, the website. And then we share community events. We really support each other with community events. And then every week we have one speaker for 20 minutes that talks about their business and takes questions. And then the next week, our focus is to get that person business. So I don't know. I love it. We're like a family. I have really grown my business, as I said, from this group and just the other networking groups are great as well. I think we're the best. Am I allowed to say that, Juliet? And then Rainmakers, we got the name because when you join, money will rain into your business. And then the reason that we call Emilio Ricky, is because I do the agendas and his business is Rocky Mountain Financial, right, Emilio? Okay. And I misspelled it and I wrote Ricky Mountain. And so now we call him Ricky because you have to unmute yourself and do your impression of Ricky Ricardo.
Linda, you got some explaining to do.
So now I can't even call him Emilio. I have to call him Ricky. And so it's pretty fun. It's a fun group. And so I don't know. I don't know if you have any other questions, Julie.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and interrupt at this point. That was the best impression ever. I do see with us Nicole and several other people that are hopping on. For those of you that are just now coming on, we are providing a chamber update quickly about our Leads Group. One of the 3 that we have, our Ambassadors Committee, again, one of the 3 that we have within the organization. These are volunteer-led groups or efforts within the chamber that continually meet even during COVID. Linda shared about their Leads Group and how they have been around for 17 years. Thank you for explaining how you transitioned to us within 4, because people would quickly do the math and say, oh, Chamber's been around 7. How does that work? But we did inherit them, and they are just one of our dynamic groups that we have. And so I'm fine with you having that competitive edge and saying you are one of the best. That's okay. I will always loop in the others at a later point in time. And so they will likely do the same, right? Good morning, Parker. Thank you for hopping on here with us. And Linda mentioned, they had Zoom meetings once COVID unfolded. After we transitioned into the next phase, they started going into a softer, safer approach, which was basically come out to an outdoor space where everybody was socially distanced with masks, with their food individually and no contact or anything. And then now they've transitioned back into meeting at a facility, again, still outdoor, meeting at the Church Ranch Event Center and offering the opportunity for the Zoom. Now, Emilio is our lead for the Ambassadors Committee. That committee is one of the 3 that we have within the chamber. He did a phenomenal job in explaining the value that he perceives out of the group. But you know me, I always love to give details. The devil is in the details. And for those that are tuning in, they might not be as familiar as we 3 are with what each of us do within the chamber. So Emilio, I will ask you a few questions. One of those relates to the outreach, right? So initially you said pre-COVID, there's a lot of outreach that the ambassadors do. Explain to me, what does that outreach look like?
Okay, well, what the outreach looks like is, as I previously mentioned, is welcoming the new members. And pre-COVID, we did do the member reviews. And it was just an outreach to go to different members and talk to them and see if they were utilizing their membership to its fullest potential, and to give them an opportunity to ask questions about the chamber that they may or may not know, or that they're just curious about. For instance, one of them was, how do I get to do something on the website, like looking for an employee? So I was able to explain to that person what they needed to do and what avenues they needed to take to do that. Other things we do is, like during COVID now, we've had volunteers that have picked up the phone and called different businesses to just follow up with them and see if they need help, see what the chamber can do for them. Does that help?
Yes, that does help. We also have you guys heavily involved. We talked about events that you've been supporting, the socially distanced after hours. Again, pre-COVID, what are some of those efforts that our ambassadors were generally at event-wise?
Yeah, well, it was on the after hours, those were really fun because they were all in person. I mean, everybody loves to be in person, but the socially distant happy hour, it was the way they were set up, and the way Juliet set it up was just kind of like a cruise night in the old days, where you cruise from car to car and just kind of chat around and get to know the businesses that were there. So that was a lot of fun. Look forward to doing that again if we ever get the opportunity, Juliet. That's a good one. What else?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I'm glad you mentioned the car, the speeding by. I know ribbon cuttings are something that our ambassadors are heavily plugged into in the community, welcoming new businesses, celebrating their anniversaries. And of course, with the drive-by ribbon cuttings that we recently have done, where you are literally driving your vehicle and we're honking and raising awareness for that business that just opened their doors. But I think one of the most important pieces that you touched on, Amelia, was the resource side of it and helping people navigate to the job postings. With COVID, it was phone calls that you conducted, those outreach calls, business calls that were done. Pre-COVID, that was a lot of sit down, right? You would go out to new members and sit down with them and have those one-on-one interactions with them to guide them through their steps of their membership. So thank you for that. So Linda, I will transition over to you to have you answer a few things. So how do people get engaged with our youth group? So is it a matter of, are there 50 people that represent events that are in there? Are there, is it specific to who joins first, or what does that look like?
So we do have different categories. We don't want to overlap. So what we do is say, for instance, I talked to a photographer last night that hey, you should join our group, you should join the chamber. So the process is I invited her to just visit, because people, it's a little intimidating sometimes. So you're allowed to visit twice. And then if you're already part of the chamber, great. As long as there's not a category already taken, then you can join with that category. If you're not in the chamber, then you join the chamber, you can join the group. We don't have a fee for the group. Yeah, right. We just have chamber. Once you're a chamber member, you can be a part of the group. And I know other chambers, you have to pay for the group as well. So yeah, and there's so many categories out there still that we need. If anybody's interested, I believe everybody on the website is listed that's in our group. So yeah, that's kind of the process.
Excellent. And I'm glad you also mentioned, if you're interested, then you join the group and you also have to join the chamber, or if you're a member, it's covered in your membership, because that's also a question that we often get. So you mentioned meeting frequency, and it's generally during the lunch hour. So what does that look like feasibly for a business person, right? Are they committed to always being there every single week? Or if they keep showing up late, is that going to hurt their involvement? I mean, what parameters are in place so that we can make sure they're benefiting, the group is benefiting, and that they're moving the needle on their goal?
So great question. Being in a group for 17 years, I've seen what does and what doesn't work. And attendance is huge, because we got to get to know you. If you show up late, if you show up every other week, it's going to be hard for me to refer somebody to you, because you're going to represent me. So it's so important, everybody has to eat lunch. It's 1 hour a week, and it's 1 hour well invested. It will come back like whatever. I'm 24. Thank you, my assistant. One moment. Too full. Anyway, blah blah blah. Okay, so yeah, it's a commitment, but it's worth it. And again, you will want to come every week. We make it so much fun that it's worth it.
And that's one of the things I always tell people is, even if your category is open in all the leads groups, right? I always push them to go and visit all of them then equally and see which they feel the most comfortable with, because it is so personality driven, and each one has its own dynamic. And if one meshes with you better, then that's probably where you want to be married to. But I'm glad you keep touching on, we want to get to know you. And that's one of the things that you shared, how it's a weekly meeting. People will start with kind of their individual update that they have going on, and then they answer an icebreaker question. And people are probably like, oh, why do you keep asking an icebreaker question every week? Well, it's because we want to know each other on a deeper level, and it's not superficial. I mean, we are really liking each other. We want to believe in what you do, and so that's why we do business together, because when we know, like, and trust you, we can turn around and be able to refer you. And you can't do that if it's somebody that's coming, once every 7 months, or you only know their first name and their company, and that's it. Nothing else about the individual, right?
Exactly.
Glad you touched on that as well. So what are some if people are interested in getting involved with either of the ambassadors group, or in this case, the Rainmakers leads group, what's the best way that they can find out information outside of the Westminster Chamber? Can they individually ask you questions? And if so, how do they reach?
Yeah, they can email me, or I believe my email address is on the chamber website. I'd be happy to even go have coffee with them.
Okay.
Because it is such a new concept for so many people. But yeah, if they can call me, email me, I'll meet you. Whatever works best for them. And
what's the phone number?
What was that?
What's a good number for you?
303-404-0611.
Thank you. Awesome. And then Emilio, how do people find out more about the Ambassadors Committee and get in contact with you as well?
Well, they can obviously give me a call also at 303-475-5109. My email is also on the chamber website, and I'd be more than happy to sit down with anyone that's interested in becoming a chamber ambassador, or even entertain the thought of it. So anyone that wants to give me a call, please do. I'm always willing to talk to somebody.
And I've made sure to include both of their contact informations into the comment section of this broadcast. We've also captured a lot of their individual updates as well into the comment section. It looks like Brian Dice has commented, and he's sharing, he's proud of the leadership team that we have. He's continued to meet some of the best people through the Westminster Chamber. And it's Emilio nailed it by saying, it's an extended family. We generally know what's going on in people's world. And it's not creepily either. It's not like, tell me what's happening for you. It's just you naturally do end up turning to each other and kind of talk through what's going on. And through that, that relationship continues to get built. Believe it or not, we're at our 30-minute mark, which I told you would go by super fast. Nobody ever anticipates that until it hits, and then you're like, oh, well, I didn't realize that would happen. But we're at our 30-minute mark, which means that I have to close out this broadcast. And when I do, I like giving some reminders. You are reminded, if you're just now hopping on, to rewind this broadcast and to rewatch it, to share it with people that are in your network that might benefit from the content, which should be everybody that's either in business or lives in the surrounding area and is interested in volunteering. Now, if you end up watching this video and we are no longer live, give us that hashtag replay so we know that you did rewatch this video and took some of the information with you. And it also helps us in understanding, should we bring some more of the other groups on here with us, some of our other committees, for those updates and things like that. I do want to thank you for taking about 30 minutes out of your day to tune in with us. I know, again, we were later than we generally are, but it was better late than never. And of course, to my two that have braved with me since before 11 o'clock to figure out what was going on the whole time, I appreciate your patience and understanding.
That was awesome.
And I enjoy working with you guys, and to reiterate your sentiments. I know everybody always says that we are amazing. I cannot take the credit. You make me look good. I seriously say that profoundly, because you enjoy what you do and you find value in it. And you are the best example of why, even in a digital world, we still need this social skills. We still need to continue to build business through the number one way that people build business, which is word of mouth, referrals, and growth. So that being said, I appreciate you guys. Don't hop off while I close this out. I hope everyone has a terrific weekend. We will be back here on Monday at 11 a.m. with our mayor to share updates on COVID and things going on in and around our community. Thank you to everybody.